Good day, everyone. I am Dexter Custodio from BSC 2-2. The topic that I will discuss today is Robert Tappan Morris, or also known as Morris Worm. And let's start. I would like to read you a Bible verse, which is Jeremiah Good News Translation. I alone know the plans I have for you, plans to bring you prosperity and not disasters, plans to bring about the future you hope for. So the table of the contents, we have here the introduction, the internet worm of November 2, 1988, his motivation, the effects of getting infected, solution and prevention, and lastly, the historic significance. Uh, for the introduction, uh, Morris Swarm was created by Robert Tappan Morris in 1988, and it is recognized as one of the first computer worm that distributed via the internet. And Morris is a graduate student at the Cornell University. He released the worms at the Massachusetts Institutes of Technology, or MIT. He illustrates the vulnerabilities uh, in the present computer networks. However, the 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 coding uh, have an error, and the worm reflected excessively, causing the significant disruptions across the thousands of computers. And as a result of this is Morris became the first ever person that convicted under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, or CFAA. And secondly, Morris worms spread quickly to about 6,000 computers, including those well-known institutions and government agencies. These incidents unintentionally spread cause major problems, slowing down systems, that making it necessary to spend a lot of time removing the worm, and the financial damage from these incidents was estimated to between $100,000 to 10 million. The internet worm of the November 2, 1988. It is infamous that its wide-reaching impact and significant damage it caused to the computer connected at the time. And it is estimated that about 6,000 computers were infected of that Morris worm, primarily belonging to the institutions such as the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and the NASA and the Pentagon, which is the highest um, military in the US. However, this estimate is based on the assumption that were around 60,000 computers connected to the internet, which is approximately 10% of being infected. And the actual number of infected computers remains uncertain. And then the worm reportedly caused around 1 million in damage, mostly due to computer downtime during the 72 hours it took to eliminate the infection. Despite the uncertainty surrounding the number of infected systems, the media characterized the Morris worm as one of the most devastating and far-reaching computer worms in the history of malware at that time. That incident was significant because the computer viruses had not received upon uh, had not received much in public attention, and previously uh, in that time the personal computers were not yet popular or were not yet widespread. And then we have here the spreading mechanism, which is, you can see guys, the basic map of Morris worms. The red one is indicates new infections, and the blue ones is uh, known as the major procedures. And then the error. Um, Morris was focused on keeping the worm undetected, and at the start of the main function, the worms perform steps to remain virtually invisible and to minimize the resource consumption. It checks if a copy already exists on the current computer. If it finds one, to the next it moves on the next connected machines. However, to bypass this check, Morris created a 1 in 7 chance for the worm to copy itself anyway. And furthermore, all subsequent copies skip this check entirely, which resulted computer. We have here the infect routine, which is the worm attempts uh, to ruin a new instance of itself in the current machine through three three attack attempts. This is where the security flaws noted by the Morris are exploited. We have here the try underscore rush creates a duplicate process which attempts to remotely execute on the target machine. If successful, the target machine can now receive a new worm process. And secondly, the try and underscore fingered. The Unix fingered function is vulnerable exploitation. This function takes an argument string, send it to another machine, and return a response. This is used the command prompt, which is reads input 512 character buffer without any protection against overflow. An attacker can exploit this by sending a 536 character argument to fingered. This extra 24 characters are copied into the system's stack, which controls which functions are called next. And we have here at the third, try underscore send email. Exploit leverages a flow in the email program where an unused debug logs allows sending emails to process. The worm alters the email to remove the header and embeds codes in the body to download a copy of itself into the system stack. And we have here the cracksum routine. The worm includes a feature designed to gain access to users' account that protected by weak passwords. These features primarily rely on to guessnet attempting to use common password for each account and access the password file which contains encrypted passwords. And this approach allows the worm to try numerous password combinations without triggering warnings for multiple fallen login attempts. Additionally, it searches through a small dictionary of words that likely candidates for passwords. And his motivation, analyze the motivation. The author of the Morris worm virus, Robert Mor Morris virus. No, Morris worm is he claims that he did not intend to cause harm. Rather, he aimed to create a small program that use that we will use spread rapidly while using the minimal computer resources and remaining difficult to detect and remove. Unfortunately, his motivation comes to an error. The program implementation that led to erratic behavior, causing it to consume excessive resources, rendering the infected computer unusable until the infection was resolved. And we have here the effects of getting infected. If the worm had worked correctly, getting infected would have been harmless. And it was designed to use few resources and only spread through connected machines. The worm was not supposed to harm files, save or send guest password, and to try gain root access or leave behind copies to run later, known as the time bombs. It targeted specific types of the machine and did not cause physical damage. And however, the code not function not function as planned. An analysis done shortly after the worm was contained found that the code was incomplete and had bugs. It shows signs of being written by an experienced programmer. The the analysis stated that the code seems to be the product of an experienced push or sloppy programmer, which may have been reaction of to the media, calling the author a computer wizard or a genius. And lastly, a critical mistake in the code that allowed the worm to make copies of itself endlessly on the same machine. This caused the worm to use up all the computer's resources, making it unusable. This happened just in the 90 minutes after the infection. This issue was especially troubling because the infected computers belong to the research and the military institutions. Here we have the solution and the prevention. Shortly after deploying the worm, Morris realized that he had significantly underestimated the rate of infection. He tried to communicate a method to stop the infection, but by that time, the internet had become too congested for his message to reach its intended destination. Eventually, the infection was eliminated by insulating parts of the internet for several days to prevent further spread. And lastly, we have here the historic significance CFAA, which is the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. Robert Morris was tried and convicted under the Title 18 of the United States Codes for violating the said act and making the first prosecution under this act. And Robert Morris was sentenced to 3 years of probation, 400 hours of community service, and he fined $10,500 in addition to covering his supervision costs. And 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 his conviction has sparked significant debate, and critics argue that Morris' code lacked of malicious intent instead of exposed security vulnerabilities that could have been addressed more constructively. Conversely, others believe his action could have been carried out in less disruptive ways. And lastly, we have here the CERT. or the Computer Emergency Response Team. Uh, in the light of the Morris Worm incident, the Computer Emergency Response Team was created to enhance the network and software security. CART focuses on identifying vulnerabilities and providing essential information, including analysis, fixes, and security warnings. The Morris Worm legacy reflects the ongoing discussion about the cybersecurity ethics, highlighting the delicate balance between technological innovation and responsible security practices. These discussions remain relevant as the digital landscape continues to evolve until today. So this is the quote of the Morris. Thank you guys for listening. I